Headbangers.
Welcome back to the Headbangers podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Here today we're joined by Kieran and Sage from the Sagebxtrd Studios. How are you guys doing to start off with?
Yeah, not too bad, man, thank you.
Good, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a while now, so...
Yeah, it's good to get you guys on.
Happy days.
So let's start off with something, a little icebreaker. What's your funniest gig story? Or funniest tour story, or even just funniest experience if you don't have any of them?
Funny experiences playing shows.
I mean, I've certainly got a few from recording sessions in the studio.
That was going to be another question for you, actually.
Yeah,
so
yeah, of
let's
course,
roll
man.
it in with both of them. Go on.
Because obviously, I don't do many tours or many shows. I'm an audio engineer. But man...
I'm going to ask, what's your weirdest experience as like an artist coming in here and...
Oh, man. We've literally, the other day, made a list of funny stuff because we wanted to do funny videos, parodies of these funny occurrences. But man, so many weird things happen. It's
We've had someone bring a cat into the studio before.
We've had someone bring a cat in.
Why a cat?
Just kind of bring my cat. I'm allergic, but it's your cat, man.
You're paying your money, so...
Well, cute though. I was happy she did bring it.
Yeah.
It's always just the people you get in, man. So many people are so good, but you meet so many people from so many walks of life where it's just stuff that seems normal to us. It's completely not normal for some people. So I've had some people kind of book in a session, yeah. And they'll go, oh, just get your music ready, get your beat, get your vocals. And go, what, do I need that? It's yeah.
Yeah,
well,
you come into the studio,
of
of
course.
course you can.
We've had
You need your beats.
This seems so remedial as well. We've had people that have come in 2022 without an email.
Yeah. And I've gone, okay.
you sit there and you think, how can you get so far in life and still not have an email address?
Yeah, how do you survive?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because as well, you need it for practically anything.
Yeah.
To do anything, you need an email address.
Literally, so I've had to fucking sit there. All right, I'm going to record you, but you're also paying me to be your admin, I'm setting up your email address.
Yeah, literally.
What do you want your password? What do you like your email? It's am I getting paid to do this?
It's like when your grandparents call you up to do some
literally.
stuff for them, and they're make sure it's something you remember. It's try this. It's that password's shite. Let's try another one.
No, password's not good enough, man. You can't say password.
It's got to be 8 characters, mate. It's got to be 8 fucking characters. So one thing as well, how did you guys sort of meet, and how did this sort of start? Because obviously we know that you've been working with Percy, but obviously what was the start off of Sagebxtrd Studios, really?
Of the studio?
Yeah, the studio is a long way away from where we met and how this started. The studio was a product of lockdown. The studio was, we ain't coming out of lockdown with having nothing to show, because otherwise the world had an opportunity, and I hate that in every conversation it kind of comes up, but obviously it is so relevant and prolific in what's going on now with people's lives. Is that the world has never stopped for a year. The world is for everybody. Obviously, there were some people, workers, blah blah, key workers that had to work. But for a lot of people, the world has never stopped like this ever. So we didn't want to come out of this opportunity without anything to show, and we basically just sat endlessly writing beats for a year.
I was saying to so many friends, man, this is an opportunity, man. We've got to use this. We've got to do something. And so many people are oh, this guy's an idiot. Fuck these guys. We can annoy me. This guy.
We can't. We can't afford it. Or it's a waste of money to just have a box to do what we can do in our bedroom. But it's as soon as we got the studio, we never put a penny of our own money into it to make it work.
Yeah.
Because just having that space, you wasn't paying out for Pirate Studios. You wasn't missing sessions with people, or people cancelling you, so you lose that side of the money for it. It just, having the room was the opportunity to then make it work for us.
We weren't even doing sessions at the time, were we? We were just making beats, man.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, I can engineer vocals. Why don't we turn this into a business and do it ourselves properly?
I think that's smart, to be honest, because I feel when it came to lockdown, it was a fight or flight mentality. A lot of people I guess there's nothing I can do now. This kind
I'm just going to sit here for 365 days getting hired and fucking doing nothing else with my life.
And you've found a way that things can keep going. You can start making money, you can do your beats and and it's as well. It's better to do it in a space like this in your bedroom, I suppose, because there's so many times when you can just say, "Oh, I'll just shove on Netflix or something."
It's a professional environment.
It's like going to the librabary to work at the uni. It's much better to get in that mentality.
There's only, and again, there's only so much you can do when you are at home, because it's that whole thing of, again, people working from home. Like, I know a lot of friends who didn't have any clarity in their head because they'd go to the living room and there was working. They'd go to the bedroom and there was opening a laptop to do work. They'd go to the kitchen and they'd have a Zoom meeting on with a whatever, and it's like, your house is your work then. So you can't relax, and that really breaks down people's mentalities, not being able to actually relax in their own home because they're constantly working in it.
Oh yeah, it's the same for me because I work from home now. Like,
Right.
3 days. It's either 3 days or 2 days a week, and like it's so fucking. It does break. It literally like you treat home as if it's work, and then you're just constantly stressed out at home. But I also like you know, the fact that you like, I'm not coming out of like lockdown like with nothing, because it was the same for us. Like we sort of saw it as opportunities where it's there like, look, we want to do interviews and bands are in like their homes at the moment, so it's kind of like,
and it also it keeps other people relevant as well. It keeps bands relevant. It keeps artists, producers, do you know what I mean, engineers. Like, it keeps us all something to do. And obviously we are in a day and age now where the online world is the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where everything has to be, because that's where people consume things now, and that's where people actually buy into things. So if you can harness that to a point where you can actually make that work and make people know who you are, even as the bottom line, just so that people know who you are and what you do, you're already doing more than what you did before, which is just sitting in your room getting high and writing beats.
definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Relevant, man.
So how did you guys meet then? Like, what was the story behind that?
So this is something I've kind of kept under wraps a little bit with friends. So I don't know, man. I was 18. I have no idea how I got into this situation, but I managed to get some some LSD.
Okay.
I was sat in my flat on my own. I was like, I'm gonna do this.
This is happening.
In hindsight, bro, I have no idea. It was a stupid ass decision.
The first and only time took it.
Yeah, never done it again.
And he manifested me into his life.
Yeah, man,
He just walked into a park.
Yeah, man, I was just bugging out in my room. Like, I need to go somewhere, man. I've been on my own for like 4 hours, just seeing weird shit on the walls. I need to go somewhere. And walked into a park, and this guy was just there, and it's just like, now we're here, innit?
Then that was it. And that was near, what, 9 years ago, 10 years ago,
man. It's just like,
this is when you wake up and you're still tripping from the LSD.
Yeah.
it's just
You're
like,
just a figment of his
and
imagination.
it's just me there.
yeah. And you look back, and it's just like some stupid shit you did when you were a kid.
And this has
And
come
then
from
just
it in the
turns
long
into
run.
mad stuff, man. It's like, I don't know, do more stupid shit, but also don't do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know when to cut off. Know when to
Is that in a
stop. Know when to
guidance
stop
system,
doing
bro?
the stupid shit.
Yeah,
You,
moderation.
you
man.
go with like your intuition sometimes, and you just follow it. It might seem stupid at the time, and it seems stupid in hindsight. But when you look at the bigger picture, you're like, damn.
We have a
all
studio
this-
now
all
because
this-
of
all
that
this
Yeah,
LSD
shit,
trip.
man.
exactly.
Like, what the hell?
It's a domino effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Great.
it's like crazy how like life sort of works out, because like honestly the amount of like dumb shit I did, but then I made like mates for life from
that's
doing
what
it.
I'm
Like honestly, like how I met Brad, we like my mate Caleb would always go out on Fridays. I was on apprentice wage, so I couldn't afford to constantly go out.
Yeah.
He met Brad because he was absolutely fucked off his head on MD, just chatting shit about Pokemon to Brad. And like
Standard.
Then like the next day, like I think like,
You've got to catch them all.
yeah, it's like,
You're doing the EV Twitter, bro.
I wish I could have been on fly on the wall, just like seeing Caleb gaining his fucking jaw off, being like, mate, but Ash Ketchum, like, you know what I mean? What he's saying, like, but like, I think like a week after, like, we actually met each other in person, and
Yeah,
like,
fuel on it.
and then we just started chatting shit, and like, flash forward a couple of years, we've got like a podcast, and we're trying to set up a business and shit together. It's really, it's mad how life sort of works out. Like,
It's even the way that I was introduced to the circle, because a lot of Dan's friends came to Leeds together to do uni. Now, there was this guy called Jack Stan, who is the original bassist of Scorned. He followed my band when I was like, I must have been 17. Hanging Over, we was called. He liked the band on Facebook. And sounds stupid, but when I first moved to Leeds, I was like, just from being in bands, I was like, I've got loads of random people on my Facebook. Do you know what I mean? As you do when you're that age. Facebook was like a massive thing then, so everyone was just adding each other. Everyone was friends with everyone. And obviously you could change the location to like, oh, people that live in Leeds. And I was like, fuck it, I don't know anyone. I'm just going to go and speak to people that are on my Facebook that I've already maybe spoken to, 1 or 2 messages here and there. We was like, oh, let's get high. Do you know what I mean? Let's write some music, let's do something. And he literally lived across the road from me. Literally lived across the road, like some random guy that liked my band on Facebook when I was 17. met him, then I met Zach through him, and that was how Scorn started, slowly but surely. And it's just mad how even me thinking, oh, these kids like my band on Facebook, I'm going to go and message him and say, hey man, do you want to do something? Like, again, that got me to Dan's circle then. So that was the opportunity for me to actually be able to, in that situation, to meet Dan. It's really weird how, like you say, these things work out and circles form and come out of literally nothing. Literally
It's all
nothing.
organic,
It's
man.
kind of cool. I mean, like even with this, like we met Percy showed us to you.
Yeah.
Now we're doing a podcast with both of you.
Yeah.
And it's like a domino effect, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
start
yeah.
to meet people.
But it's just building them foundations as well. Like I said, like we were saying before about having your own spaces. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like you've got to build them foundations because otherwise you are just on your own doing your thing. And it's like the biggest thing in the world is collaborative processes. Like a lot of people don't like collaborating and don't like working with other people for whatever reasons, be it unprofessional, be it that they don't like working with people, they're introverts. But without that collaborative process, you never expand in yourself because you're never going in situations like this.
Exactly, mate.
Especially with like creative stuff. I mean, like if you want to do like beats or music or like even videography or photography, like if you're just gonna be in your room by yourself and like not connecting with anyone, you're gonna struggle unless you're fucking absolutely schizophrenic.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Unless you're a crazy genius who literally
of
just
course, man.
focuses on their own and does their own thing, but you need that constructive criticism from other people as well, like friends, family, other people that you're working with. So like, there's people that we've wrote beats for, and they'll like it when we start doing it, and then when I send them the finished thing, they're just like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore. And it's just like, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. But without that collaborative process, we wouldn't have another song.
Exactly.
But it's crazy as well that you brought up like Scorn, because I remember, so when I first got into hardcore, it's when I first started dating like my girlfriend Siobhan, and that's how I met James.
Right.
I remember when I first met James, he was like, "Have you ever listened to Scorn?" And like from like the minute he showed me like you guys, I was like a massive fan.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because like now flash forward a couple of years, I've ended up meeting Carl and meeting like Louis.
Yeah.
And meeting you through Carl. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just been like I was there like it's crazy that like. Looking back on it, I was like, it literally was
From
like,
one minor
yeah,
like
like
thing
he was
that
like,
happened.
oh, look at this band, check them out, and I was like, this is fucking sick, and like then being able to like meet most of you I was like, what? I was like,
Well, it's the same with
it's
Miles.
crazy.
It's the
Yeah,
same with
crazy.
Miles. So Miles, when he joined us on guitar, we sat and had a conversation. Shout out Miles, by the way. We were sat there and we was just like, it's crazy how Miles used to come to every Scorn show. Do you know what I mean? Like when we was playing Doncaster in Vintage Rock Bar and shit like that, like he'd always be there. And it's crazy how things come full circle sometimes. And just from being in them situations, you might end up being in that band 5 years later, 8 years later. Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
No, absolutely. So I want to get into you guys' music, by the way. So, what's like your creative process like when you're going to sit down and start writing? Obviously, I know that you're cooking up some stuff at the moment, and you're cooking up some beats as well.
Yeah,
so, like, when you guys sit down to go ahead with it, like, what's your process?
So if it's both of us in the room, I don't know. I tend to sit on the laptop. That's more my strong suit. I'm an engineer, so I'll be there, picking sounds out, doing bits and bats here. Sometimes I even play drums in, and they'll probably sit on this chair here, just all relaxed, just on the keyboard, fucking messing about.
Yeah, just
I'm sat
messing
there,
about
just
until
this and
something
that.
clicks.
And there's some old click man at some point, and we're like, right, that's the sound. But like, also a lot of the time, we're not even writing together. Like this guy will fucking write at home, and then he'll send it to me, and I'll add my stuff to it. But because we've been doing it together for so long, we kind of know already
Yeah.
what's
Where
going to
you-
work.
We leave ourselves pockets for things to do.
and
Like
stuff. I know you're going to do this, man. I know you're going to get this.
Sick that.
No,
You
but
had this,
that's
I'll have
what's
this.
great about like working and
Yeah.
like knowing someone for so long, because it ends up being like almost like a hive mind of shit where it's like,
Nah, for real, man.
like you know where each other is gonna go like
Yeah.
before you even
Yeah.
do it. Like
the amount of times that he's been doing something and I'll go, "Hey, bro, will you just?" Oh wait, I can see you doing it literally right this second. Like so many times,
man.
times where I've wanted something being done and he's doing it, or he's just like, "Yeah, bullshit." Oh yeah, I know, I need to do
It's
that.
that chemistry though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We find it with artists as well. Like Percy, for example. Like we'll knock up a beat and we're like, Percy.
Yeah, yeah.
Percy, do you like this beat? Yeah, I love it.
And Percy always says to me as well, like, with a lot of the beats I've written for him, they just work.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm trying to get out of it. I know what he can do on it or what I want from it, and it always meets in the middle. Always meets in the middle of what we both want and what we're both doing.
that's what's great though about like working with people that you're actually friends with.
Yeah.
Though, like when it's a stranger, you always kind of like, where do they want to go with
Yeah.
this? Or like they might not know. Whereas if it's your mate,
Yeah, that's it. Or what direction that was what I was going to say. The direction that they're going in, or their stance still on how they want to push themselves forward.
Definitely,
yeah,
man.
well, it's like as well if it's your mate, you know, you can be brutally honest as well. It's like I don't think this is your best stuff. Like I think you should go back and like, look at it, because like it happens sometimes where you come in and you be like, oh, I've got this, and you're like, work on it a bit more. Like it happens like because like from being in bands like with my mates, they'll sometimes come in and it'd be like a riff. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Where it's like,
It's alright.
Average.
yeah, it's like
Seriously,
We have days where we'll sit there and we're like, right, we're having a clear out day, and we'll sit there and go, shit, keep, shit, and like
Definitely.
literally, and we say because we do write so much, or we have written so much in the past as well, like we are very cutthroat with what our music is, because if we know we can get something better, or we know we can do something with it, we won't use it as it is. Do you know what I mean? We'll try and make it better, or it goes in the bin.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes how you've got to be. Like, I know a lot of producers will say, no, you've got to keep yourself forever, because one day you'll do something with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes you write shit things. Sometimes you write shit.
That don't happen though.
Yeah.
Like, you don't fucking throw back 5 years and find something crap you wrote when you first started. It's like, I'm gonna use that.
Goes back to like the collaborative thing we were talking about. Like, if you were to do everything by yourself with no help, like you're never gonna have that person to tell you when you're writing something shit.
Well,
Like,
exactly, man.
you know, with that you can always get better and you can always
Yeah.
improve because you just like work off each other.
You just become down a single track mind as well. You're just like, no, I am good. This is my sound, and it's
Seriously,
just like you need someone to say, hey, even in a positive way, like, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you try doing this? And then that's where again you just expand and do
Goes
more.
both ways.
A lot of us lack that self-awareness as well, where we can really analyse, okay, am I really that good? Is this my strength? And if it's not your strength, is it his strength?
Yeah.
Is it his strength?
And if it is, let them fucking
Let's
do it.
together then. Because I've had loads of people coming in here, or friends, that I want to do everything. Oh, I'm going to be an engineer now. I'm going to be a rapper now. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's like, no, you're good at, post on social media.
yeah, it's like focus
Do
on
that
your
then.
niche
You do that, yeah.
and do that. Like
Self-awareness,
that's
man.
how like we're sort of doing it now. Like I've got like I like I think more about merch and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like promotion side of things, whereas Brad's might more like the day to day getting everything like operated and video editing and stuff
the
like that. Like
podcasts and stuff. Yeah.
whereas like so now we've just, instead of us both trying to do the same thing, we've just split up and been like, right, you do that,
You're
you
good at
focus
this,
on that.
I'm good at this.
Well, that's
Yeah,
how our dynamic is.
work
Like I say,
together, man.
I write, he mixes.
Yeah.
I produce the tracks, he engineers the tracks for the most, and that's how it works, because I can't do all that numbers stuff. I can't do all that, and
Numbers is tough, mate.
and Dan spends a long
Yeah,
time writing one track. Every time Dan does write a track, it's fucking sick. But it takes you a lot longer to actually get to that point. But it's because he's been like he is with his mixing, where he's been so perfect and so meticulous over everything that's going on. Whereas I'm just like, no, that sounds good. Dan can fix it. Dan can make it sound good.
Fix it, man.
Well, that's the thing though. It's a good dynamic to have. Like just having someone that's like, like I can churn them out as quickly as possible. I know that you can mix them and make them sound amazing. So
Yeah.
let's both do.
And the rest
that
of it we've just kind of picked up together, like with the social media posting and creating accounts like that. Like that's something that we have struggled with.
Oh, it's same here.
Oh, man.
So
Because we're not online people. Like I don't like posting online all the time.
No.
Like it does my head in.
Well, each Friday it's always like, who's gonna do the post? I'm like, Brad will message me like, can you do the post? I'm like,
No, sorry, I'm walking my dog to Russia.
like, are you sure? I think I might be like doing something on Friday. He's there like, are you sure, Nathan? And I'm there like,
It's like,
I just don't want to do the post,
Yeah,
Brad. I'm
it's
sorry.
I hate in this day and age, everyone has to be an entertainer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, I'm a
It's like-
creative, but I'm not an entertainer. I'm a producer, man. I sit in my cave.
I hate
Like, why does
having
my
to
face
put, like-
have to be everywhere? Why do I have to be singing and dancing, doing this? It's not me.
I hate trying to sell the episode, when you because we write that, it's like we have like blah, blah, blah. Is there like the thing is I just watch, look, new episode out, watch it, it's great. Like I wish, but like no, it's almost like you feel like you're like a salesman there. Going,
Yeah.
come here,
Everything's
podcast
salesman,
episode,
yeah.
podcast episode. Like it's like it's so draining sometimes.
That's how it
'cause
is,
they're
though,
like-
innit,
It's,
unfortunately.
man.
Yeah.
It's just the modern age.
Yeah, it's
Whether
I
we
mean
like it
like
or not.
it's we love the process. You should like when you do the post, she's there like I just like you just there like it's a hassle writing it all out, and you're like I don't like social media in general.
The
Like,
problem is thinking. You like I say, you've got to think for. Let's say, for example, you've got 1 million Instagram followers. You can put no caption,
yeah, and
and
there'll be a
people just
million
fuck
people
with it
see it.
because you've got the followers
Oh,
on
yeah.
because of who you are. Whereas though, when you've got hardly any followers, you have got to sell yourself. You have got to make people buy into you.
It's understanding the algorithm as well. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
There's people that get paid a ridiculous
I know that there is
salary to
such a
understand
thing
that,
called an algorithm.
man. Yeah, I know it exists, but I don't have that salary, man. There's
That's
professionals for that.
What are the biggest misconceptions to sound engineering? Like, obviously you've probably seen a lot of artists come in here and they think that certain things should be the way that they should be, and you have to kind of correct them. Like, what is it?
The biggest misconception in audio engineering is that you can make people sound good when they're singing without with auto-tune.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good one.
Like, that is the ultimate, like, people think that if they can't sing they can use auto-tune and they can sing. It's not the case. Like, auto-tune does, for me, does two things. If you're already a good singer, it just kind of glues you to the beat. It acts as, if you've got the key of the beat and you're singing that key, it'll just fit all them pockets into the right bits that maybe you might have missed for just natural vocals. The other thing is if you're a lean drinking, weed smoking trapper who wants to just sound like Future.
Yeah.
They're the two kind of, for me, the two elements of it. Because again, there are a lot of rappers that can sing really well and they don't need a lot of auto-tune on the voice. They need it to just glue it. But there's so many people that are just like, yeah, just put the auto-tune and it's just like, it's not going to work, bro.
It's quite insightful actually, because I've always wondered like how much auto-tune affects it. I mean, so what you say is you can't polish a turd if you can't sing.
No, not at all. Like,
that would be my biggest misconception. Like,
I'm glad that we both thought the same thing, like straight away.
People think it's easy.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's an art to it. There's an art to auto-tune singing and auto-tune vocals.
You know, we get people in who know like the odd buzzword, but you don't know what that buzzword means. So, you know, I've had an artist in and their friend, Mr. Entrepreneur, sat in the background, the manager, and the artist has been in the booth and he's coughed while recording, and I've gone, you're going to have to take again, bro. And his boy in the background's gone, now just stick reverb on it. I was like, do you know what reverb means? He's like, just stick reverb on it. I'm like, okay, so he's going to sound like he's coughing in a church. It's like, he's still going to be coughing, just in a church, bro. If you don't understand it, it's fine. But
don't pretend that you do.
Buzzwords off. I know. It's like, it's difficult, man.
We've had people specify over exact plugins. It's like, oh, you use that plugin.
That's H-delay, wasn't it?
but they won't tell you why.
I've got H-delay, bro. You know, H-delay, it's just an echo plugin. So he'll say a word and it'll repeat, blah, 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 blah. And you're just saying, stick that on my voice, bro. I just want that. I want that plugin. It's like, okay, this is what it does. We'll use it, but that's not the only thing that makes your voice, man. Like, having that echo.
Well, I feel like I feel like a lot of people like they'll watch like maybe a YouTube video and be like, oh, why I read up like to sound like this geezer. You need this plugin. It's now like there's so much more to that.
I've had someone send me an Instagram video of a producer going, do this. It's like, now I'm doing my thing.
Yeah. Because you want your shit to sound like your shit. You don't want to be sat there being like, oh yeah, this guy paid me to make a track that sounded like this.
Well, yeah, obviously we work to references and stuff, but it's when they're sending something completely random, that's not even anything like what their voice sounds like to begin with. So they'll be like,
or even the same style of track as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, let alone the vocals. Like even the actual track, it's just like you've got to mix differently to different tracks.
They'll send you like Drake's audio engineer and be like, I want to sound like this, but they're on a drill tune, and it's like, man, it's not going to sound like that.
And the other big thing is you're not Drake. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not Drake, and we're not Drake's producers. Do you know what I mean? Like that's two other very big things that are in that equation.
Yeah, well, it's like it must get frustrating though sometimes because. It's my biggest like pet peeve is when someone's like a musician and they'll just go, I want to sound only like this person. It's like, yeah, but like, don't you want to be an artist and like do your own shit? Like,
so now that translates as well into this scene where you get people that come onto YouTube beats. So type beats are great for artists that want to practice and want to learn, but at the end of the day, if you're sat typing and buying the Baby type beats or fucking Travis Scott type beats, then you're just going to be a carbon copy of those two people. You're never going to find your sound in your music. And that's another thing where there was a post, was it Gunnar? Who said, or maybe it was about Gunnar, but there's a reason why Gunnar's had such a good progression in his music is because he's stuck with the same producers and they've helped carve and craft his sound, whereas you get these other rappers who will record with one producer, get big, go to another 10, 12, 20,000 producers, and then they shut off because they've not got that.
Just random sounds.
Yeah. It's different sounds that are trying to come together to make a sound for them, whereas though they're not building foundations with people.
That's one thing I would say to artists: just like be patient and be brave as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I think like they need to drop
just
their
copy.
ego a tiny bit because like you know
Exactly.
they don't really know much about sound engineering, or maybe they do,
No.
but like a lot of them will go in with like you know the misconceptions of how things should be. Like yeah, just make me sound like this, and then
Yeah, or even just the
It's
idea is like, if you do this will come out, and it's like, no, that's not the
how it
case.
works.
Again, it's such a fine line because it's good to have a vision. You know, I want to sound kind of like this guy's my favourite artist. But you
then
need to be brave and go, am I even like that artist at all? Do I
Yeah.
sound like
I'd
him?
say it's good for, on that side of things, like where artists should say, rather than I want to sound like this or I want to be like this person, it's like I aspire to be with this person.
Yeah.
I aspire to be
Come
working
on,
next
yeah.
to this person and be on the same level as them,
Yeah.
but in my own lane by right, rather than trying to just clog up this
Yeah.
one-way single line traffic where it's
Yeah.
just that's the artist. You can't force that.
It's not going to work.
There's a
man.
difference between like you know being inspired and saying I want to be that person, because it just doesn't work like that. different styles, different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I remember when I first started doing vocals, I was like, oh, I'd love to sound like CJ, but now I'm like, it's got to the stage where I'm like, I just kind of want to sound like me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
rather than like.
It definitely comes with age as well. It definitely comes with.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, yeah, I remember like I remember a couple like last year. I like went on join my band and it was like, oh, vocalist wanted. I was like, all right, I'll try it out. I've not been doing much with music.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I'll see what's cracking there. And so I turned up to their practice and they're like, could you sound just exactly like Will Ramos from Lorna Shore? I was there like,
Oh, I'm not him, so.
yeah. I was like, no. I was there like, and if you want a vocalist that sounds like Will Ramos, you fucking good luck,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
Because like,
He's a
there's
tank,
like,
isn't he?
there's like 1 in a million of them,
Yeah.
like, and you're not gonna find them in Leeds.
They're already in bands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're already probably even signed. Like, is there like you're not gonna find someone that can do that? He's like, what can you do? I'm like showing him like my old tracks and like, yeah, no, that's not what we're looking for. I was there like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah, yeah, fine,
You're
that's
not
fine.
finding Will fucking Ramos.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, so, like, I'm pretty sure I saw their ad still there. I was like,
Oh,
really?
I might go, man.
Still finding.
Just turn up and be like, right, I can do this.
Man.
What like are sort of the pros and cons to having your own space? Then, like, obviously there is like massive pros, but sometimes what are the drawbacks of it? Like, do you feel like there is any, or
It's a little bit small. This specific space a bit small. I'd like a bigger room with a live room or something so that we can again
Yeah.
get into recording bands properly.
Yeah, I'd aspire to have a bigger space, but not just a bigger room. Like I want a place with like multiple rooms to
Yeah.
run a full, studio at some point. So yeah, maybe you'll play this back and be like, shit, you did that.
Yeah.
No, you will play this back and you did that. Should have said.
Yeah, you
can edit
will.
that bit out, bro.
It's like when we wanted a bigger space, you just have like whiskey and cigars, just like in a
Yeah.
Gucci jacket.
Yeah, man. Because obviously we do rent this space. It's not owned.
We'll
by
do another
this room.
podcast in 5 years and we'll see where we all are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll go down corridor to your room, innit?
Sup,
Cross,
boys?
man.
well, that's the thing. I was saying to Brad, there's like loads of like little office spaces that are empty now. I was
Yeah.
there like, I'd love to like buy one and convert it into like a full-on studio, but like have multiple people there. Like I said, that my biggest dream for Headbangers is to be like the British version of like Banger Entertainment from
Yeah.
the US. Like, but like try to feed into the scene as much as possible. Like even have like a studio there, like
Yeah.
bands can come to. Just be like a pillar for like the local community. Like,
Yeah,
metal,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
music
definitely
community.
something there, like a main hub somewhere. Like this spot here is really, really good for that. Like there's a lot of producers. I don't know if you're into like Mikey B.
I'm not really into that like sort of stuff, but I want to get into it. To be fair,
So
though,
Mikey B is like garage bassline.
Yeah.
He's doing really well for himself, and he's literally the room
Yeah,
next
we've got a
door.
lot of established producers just in this building. It's fucking great, man. That's
Yeah,
how we spoke about
that's
the
what,
collaboration. Again, it's just like just being around like-minded, good people,
Mhm.
and you come out, you're like, yo, listen to this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good being around with people that as well have that grafted mentality
Yeah.
as like everyone else. Because like, find when you're around people that aren't like don't really want to do much, like it rubs off
Negativity
on
brings
you.
negativity, bro. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna be
it's
lazy. Like you've got to keep your circle how you want it.
No, man, it does, and I think we've all been there in our point in our lives. Oh, my phone's just dropped out of my pocket. We've all been there where it's just, do I need to be around this circle anymore?
Yeah, it's
Or-
happened to
or-
me.
or-
Like I think it comes with age.
Yeah,
like,
you outgrow things, man.
but it's like, oh, do I really want to? Because I had like friends that were like just like all they wanted to do was just get stoned all
Yeah,
day, and it's
yeah.
kind of like I like getting stoned, but I also like doing
Doing
shit.
things, yeah, yeah,
Doing
yeah.
things, man.
It's like there's more to it than just being in someone's gaff. Just like it's like, should we get a 10 bag in, boys? It's
And do you know what the
like-
annoying thing is? Imagine if we was doing this shit back then.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
imagine if you were
no,
doing a
man.
podcast. Imagine if we had a studio. Then like we could have. We could. It's for things like as well video content. Like me and this guy just go to work. go to the studio, and come home. I see people like 10 by Boys who are a good example of, because they're a bit younger, they can go out and get fucked more, and that's definitely their aesthetic. But their videos, they look so cool. They look sick. They look like ones that you see, like, do you know what I mean, for, I'm trying to...
You lost me, bro.
My mind has gone blank. Like Playboy Carti. Again, that whole kind of lean party scene, like, it looks great for it. If we had done that then, we could have got so much footage. So much footage of that, like, just stupid shit.
Camera, but here we are.
Yeah.
But I also don't think we'd have been able to run a business properly.
No.
And get people in and actually deal with people as human beings.
Yeah.
Because we weren't then.
No,
Like
for sure.
goblins or something.
Yeah, literally.
So, you know, swings and roundabouts, innit?
Where did your love of music start for the both of you?
Oh
What
my
was like
God.
the turning point?
Day dot.
Yeah, man.
Day dot. I've
There's never a
always...
point where it's like, I don't like this, or I like this now. It's never been a thing like that.
I remember being a kid and just kind of always being into music, and like, I remember being a young kid, and my mum, like, again, I must have been 4 or 5, do you know what I mean, like, very young. My mum was like, oh yeah, Kieran can point out what instruments are what in a track, and it's like, obviously that seems remedial now, do you know what I mean, but like, as a kid, to be like, that's a guitar and that's a piano, like, that was pretty cool for my mum to see, like, that I could distinguish between stuff like that. So then that kind of harnessed their knowledge of my love for music.
Yeah.
And it was just, I've always been like nurtured with music.
Yeah.
My grandparents always helped me with getting musical equipment, and again, they pushed it into me. So they knew that I wanted to do it, so they just helped me carry on doing it. Yeah, went to college to do music. That's why I moved to Leeds to do music. Same as this guy, do it at uni. Always been in bands since like 14, 15. And then yeah, just that's it. It's just kind of progressed from that. Like my first bands were like Stone Roses-esque Britpop kind of style bands. And then it got into hardcore. And then I found the fine line between beatdown and trap are almost very similar.
Yeah, I agree.
They're the nitty gritty, and that's where you get people like Percy, who beautifully merge the two of being almost metal and trap. It's just, again, that collaborative process where new sounds come from it.
I think it's like one of the most interesting times for music, to be honest. And when people say like, you know, music's dead now, I don't think it is. Like,
It's just oversaturated.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. There's too much to actually pick the best bits out of.
No, exactly. Like trap, metal, and hardcore and stuff. Like everyone's blending the styles together now. But in a way, it's kind of the same thing because, you know, in like trap you'd wait for like, you know, maybe like a drop or something, and then in hardcore you'd wait for the
Breakdown,
beat,
yeah.
breakdown, yeah. Like we're kind of waiting for the same thing.
Yeah.
So why not just push it together?
Well, that's it. And you tend to find as well, like a lot of people that I know from the hardcore and the beatdown and the metal scene, they're all pillheads who fucking love listening to warpy fucking bassline and, do you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like we all love a good session. Yeah, good session. You don't want to sit and get absolutely rat ass to fucking metal and hardcore. I mean, sometimes you do, but that's when you end up destroying your own living room.
Well, that's the thing, like, as well, like, one of my mates, he's been in a hardcore band for years. He's doing 2 more shows and then quitting that sort of music.
Forever?
Well, yeah, but now he makes, like, techno. I've been round to his house, and, like, he showed me some of the shit he does. I'm there, like, this is fucking sick. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those things where you wouldn't expect it, but a lot of the people that are in the scene are into also that shit, because, like, I feel like when you've got such a love for music, you love all kinds of music. Like, so, like, I don't really care what it is.
If
like,
it's good, it's good.
Yeah,
That's it. Like, if
that's
it's good,
the
it's
thing,
good.
like, I hate people that are kind of elite. It's like, what, I might alienate some of our audience here, but you know when you get someone who goes, I only listen to metal, man, like, all right.
Okay.
Like,
Grow up,
Yeah.
grow up.
You're
You're
gonna
not
be
16
interested,
anymore.
yeah,
Do you know
it's
what I mean?
like, I love metal as much as like the next guy. I love hardcore as much as the next guy. But sometimes I just like to
I love
chill
this, I
out.
love
Like,
that, I love
I don't want to
Have a
just
magnum
constantly
and listen to some
like,
Snow Patrol.
yeah. Like, sometimes I just want to have a joint and listen to some like cheesy '60s songs. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean, like,
Man, on Spotify I listen to the Smokestack playlist quite regularly. It's just 60s and 70s
nice,
funk,
man.
soul and pop.
that's
You're
the
like,
shit
it's
I
good
love
stuff,
as well.
yeah.
Like,
because it's just easy listening. It's like radio music without the boring shit adverts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the people talking over it.
I've got like a playlist on my Spotify at the moment. It's like it's just filled with like all of the like shit me Nano you used to play when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like all that '60s like funk sort of stuff. Like I just remember like all the little albums like she also had like Elton John constantly playing
yeah.
shit tons of Queen all the time.
Yeah.
Like So I was like, that shit I gravitate more towards now because it's like I prefer just chilling out. Like
There's that little nostalgia in you as well.
Yeah, like I need to have like the mentality as well. Like I really want to listen to something heavy today.
Yeah.
Than, like,
I find myself more in that mindset nowadays, where some days I'm just like, right.
Yeah, man.
Today's gonna be a heavy day. Do you know what I mean? Like today I'm just gonna smash the heaviest stuff I can.
It's always been like that for me though. Like I've had to be in a very specific mood to listen to heavy music.
Jim
And then I'll shout this guy in it and go, yo, send me something heavy, bro.
Yeah, send me something
I
to
need to
listen
listen to
to.
something heavy today.
Yeah.
Generally when I'm having a bad day or I'm pissed off or something, it's like, right, we'll get this anger out, man.
Yeah, it's like different days for different things. Like, you know, some days I want to listen to some really heavy shit, and
Yeah.
other days I want to listen to some rap.
I'm gonna
or-
turn notifications
Yeah.
on. I didn't realise how much it'd fucking go off.
Ping.
Yeah, turn that shit off, boy.
Until tomorrow. There we go.
Splendid.
I could feel my phone start vibrating. I was like, shit,
yeah,
it's gonna start coming
that's
through on there
done,
now.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, some days it'll be different things. Like rap. Some days I listen to some fucking Nordic folk or something just because I feel like it.
It's
Like,
quality though, man.
there's too much good music
Yeah.
to not listen to all of it.
Deal with your
Like,
folklore. Honestly, you've been constantly trying to get me into it, and I'm now like, I don't like folk music, Brad. He's like, just listen to this one band.
It's good.
I would be interested.
Yeah, it is. Honestly,
Sometimes you're
it's
just in that headspace where it's like, shit, I need to get in the zone. I'm not raping my Viking today or something.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, there's just too much good stuff, and I think that people need to just like venture out and just try all kinds of music,
Yeah.
and you never know what you might find. I think I always used to be that sort of elitist metal kid when I was younger, and now it's just I just cringes.
Yeah, man, I think we've all been there as young people, you know, as teenagers.
You're passionate about your music, and when you listen, especially as kids, when you listen to music, I was the kind of kid where I would go and find new music constantly.
Yeah.
Like I remember me and Zach from Scorn, we used to sit and we'd just look through random Eastern European forums and just find the weirdest metal bands ever. And some of them we'd listen to for years and years and years. And it's like, I've lost my train of thought now. When you're sat there finding all this new music, you are passionate about it, and you are like,
Well, absolutely.
no, I found this music. I mean, I found this music. This is my music. So then when people are just like, oh, you should listen to this, just like, fuck you. I listen to what I listen to.
Yeah.
When you're young as well, you're struggling for identity at that point, I think, you know, when you're a teenager and you kind of base your whole identity around this one thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as you mature and grow up, you become more of yourself.
You realise there's more things in the world than just that one thing.
You
No, I
have
agree.
that identity crisis at that age, and it's just...
I think you get passionate,
This
you're
is
like,
me.
I'm safe and this is her and this is me.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
And then like as you get older, you're like, oh, actually, you know what, these other things are quite
Yeah,
nice as
this
well.
makes me, this is a bit of me.
I used to
A
talk
bit
so
of
much
cheesy
shit
80s, a
about
bit of
pop
metal,
punk
a
and
bit of
stuff.
Yeah.
I used to
Oh,
hate
yeah.
that stuff. But like now, I'm like, there's actually quite a lot of good jams. You know what I
And the
mean?
thing is,
real, man.
it's that nostalgic factor as well. Like you listen to some songs and you're just like, oh, guys, I hate this, but then you sing along to it because you know every word. Because
Innit?
everyone in school listens to it. Like,
Yeah, like remember when we used to constantly berate Bring Me the Horizon, and
Yeah.
then like flash forward a couple of years, their new album came out. We're like, I actually like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
I
actually
don't like
pretty
them all
good.
along.
Emails come at you
I
again,
remember,
bro.
I remember Bring Me the Horizon playing. I think it was 2006, 2007 on the Architects tour with them, playing in Cleethorpes Pier, one of the worst places in the world. And at the time, I went to go see them. It was like that was maybe one of my first big gigs that I went to, and didn't really like them. Only when they started bringing out the stuff now did I go back and be like, oh, actually, I did like it. I do appreciate this for what it was at the time, because when you look at them now, they've changed direction so much.
What's crazy as well, like when you listen to the old shit, like some of the stuff, like even though it's like the producing on it is like
Yeah, the
aged
record.
poorly,
Yeah.
But like you listen to it, you're like this is straight up almost suicide like silence
Yeah.
level of like heaviness. You're there like, mate, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you look at the shit they're doing now, and you're there like you listen to like if you'd listen to like Sepultura.
And it's like
Eternal, and then you listen to Kingslayer, you'd be like, these are two different
bands.
artists.
Yeah, literally.
Like these aren't the same people, but then you're like the way they've actually evolved. It's impressive to see.
It's so gradual with how they did it. Like you could see where there was going, and it's almost the same with Malevolence.
yeah, exactly,
At this
yeah.
point, like their earlier stuff, I remember when there was the demo with like Chronic Ring Sting on and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like then the Awake to Life Immortal, obviously that was incredible. But they sat on that for so long because it was good and people liked it. They didn't try and progress from that until they released their album. And then from that, it was just like, right, how can we build this bigger and better? How can we make this more current as well. Like, and obviously you've got to look at it from that point of view where we need to be on more appropriate stages and festivals and tours and gigs. If you're just some shitty little local hardcore band, you're going to be on them kind of bills and tours and shows for a long, long time until you mature with your sound and progress in the way that they have. And the boys in my have done it absolutely beautiful as well.
It's like every like band should sort of take note of like what they did, because like not only were they relentless in promoting themselves, they did it all themselves as well. Like they were like fucking. They didn't want to go to like record labels. I think they were signed to one, but then they ended up coming off of it, and it's like it's probably the best decision they ever made. Like,
yeah, well look at them now. They've got their own space where they're putting on their own gigs and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like they've got obviously the record label and stuff that's out now.
Big influence to me. I've never really been into that scene as much as you guys might have been, but looking from that they've done from an outsider's perspective, man, it's been a huge influence. Like, you know, it's all the clothing, all the merch, all the studios, like, everything they're setting up now. It's just. No, I want to do that.
They could not release music for 10 years and still sell merch and still make money off it.
Oh yeah,
and that's a brand. At that point, like
that's what I want to be doing, man. One day, like just growing to that point.
Seeing himself as a brand is definitely important.
Exactly.
So I want to talk about your hobbies and interests outside of music then. So what do you guys like to do? What's your thing?
What's my thing?
What's my
thing, bro? What's my thing? I read a lot. So I enjoy doing that, obviously, because I do it a lot.
I hate this.
I hate it, doing it, man. I'm just like, why the fuck am I reading? I don't like doing this. So that tickles me a little bit. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well. Little bit of gaming to wind down, but not a lot. You know what, man? My favourite podcast at the moment is it's called Behind the Bastards.
Let's go on, Nathan.
It's not like you guys. Which is, as it sounds, about the worst people in history. A bit of a history nerd. Which is just like talking about dictators, just dickheads, and it's just I don't know, man. It just tickles something in my brain. I shouldn't do, because it's talking about like genocides every night. I'm just sat there listening on it on the way to work, just like this guy killed like millions of people. This is really interesting.
It is history.
But, yeah, it's real, man, and it gives you perspective on life as well. Seeing all these different things.
You know who we can recommend though? Those conspiracy guys. They do like. Conspiracies for one, but they also do like true crime. Like they dive into like one specific like serial killer.
Oh no, okay.
And like it's proper dark shit, but like it's.
Is that the last podcast? The last podcast.
No, it's similar to them, but like it's called Those Conspiracy Guys. It's it's one Irish guy who gets a guest on each episode. Sometimes he does it with his wife, and it's really funny. Like. Because she's there like, this was horrific, and he's like, man. I loved it.
Yeah, man. I love Last Podcast as well.
I listened to a couple of their episodes. They're really good.
I kind of dropped off it because I don't know, man. You could tell it was like three comedians, like talking about it, and it's fun, but it's just like, man, I want to nitty gritty.
Yeah, you want to actually know about it. You want someone that's going to delve into it and not just kind of take the piss out of it.
Well, these guys do that. What they do is like they'll do like it'll be like 40 minutes just talking about like their childhood.
Yeah.
And like when they put it in that perspective, it's like obviously not like condoning what they did.
That's the bit I find most interesting. Like the upbringing of that person. It's like, how did their brain just fuck up so bad?
Well, they were like, they'll go into it and you go, you know what? Their child was pretty fucked, and I imagine they probably didn't have a lot of people around them to support them. That's probably why their brain's so fucked. It always, like, as well, there's a weird theme where it's like a really bad relationship with their mother.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a really common thing where, like, if they don't have that and they don't, like, eventually get, like, someone there to sort of support them, you can see people go off the deep end on that. Like, so that's the thing, like, I literally listen to them and, like, how they kind of, like, go into the history of, like, this person that did horrific things. You're there, like, yo, fucking hell, like, when there was a kid, they had a pretty fucked up childhood. That's mental. Like, we did one on, you know, the whole black metal thing, like church burnings and that. And like Brad was like, oh, do some like really good research. Make sure you find some shit that we don't like. No one knows. I didn't know that Varg, his dad worked for Saddam Hussein.
Oh really?
Yeah. When he was 10 years old, he like moved to he moved to like Iraq and shit like that. And like his dad was like an electrical engineer. So he was doing some shit for Saddam Hussein, and like,
yeah, I mean, in terms of the jobs he can do for him, he probably got off lightly, man.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Just the engineer, man.
To be like
looking, doing the fucking work.
He's like, oh, don't mind me, Saddam. I'm just patching in these wires. Like,
just got his.
But yeah, like it's mental when you look into some people's backgrounds where he's like, oh, don't fucking hell, like.
Yeah, man, that's it.
It's mental, like. Honestly.
You might hate your boss, man, but
Yeah, at least your boss isn't Saddam Hussein.
Yeah,
like, he's literally Saddam Hussein. It's like,
Well, is that what the world's come to now, where we're just thankful that he's not, that our boss isn't Saddam Hussein? Is that what we've come to in the world now? We've
Yeah,
worked
it's
in
We'll
one.
take that, man. We'll take that.
Absolutely. So I want to ask, like, what this year for 2022? What's like your goals? Obviously, you're writing some music. You've got the studio going. It's going nicely.
I
like,
thought about this recently as well, and it's like the past 2, because we've been open, what, 2 years?
Yeah,
Year
it'll be 2 years in June.
I thought of a weird analogy. Don't know if any people are gamers that are listening,
Yeah.
but it's like the past like 2 years. It's been like we're doing the fucking like the main quest, and this next year is like shit, man. We've got to get all the collectibles.
Yeah, we've got to do all the side quests. We've got to
quests.
get all these little things.
So we don't,
packed.
it's like we
you know?
don't have like an overarching story at the moment. We're not working on massive projects. It's just like little bits that we're just patching in here. And
Even
there,
bits
which
like
will-
getting the social media, getting
Yeah,
TikToks. Do you know what I mean?
just-
Like
just
getting
patching in,
ourselves
jumping
more
in.
aware as getting our brand awareness out for people so that people again know who we are.
So it's like the overarching thing, which is the creation of this brand that we're creating. Just the little bits that we kind of not slacked on, but we just sort of missed out. And we're like, right now we've got.
And
to do
like
this,
we
this,
wasn't
this.
educated on. We, do you know what I mean? Like I said,
Yeah, we're
look
well
at
equipped,
business,
well
marketing,
educated,
and
yeah.
fucking anything to do with like videography and things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
no, we're not built that way. But
We will
you've
be.
got exactly. We will be. You've got to learn. Like we were saying about the videos the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Dan isn't a piano. I'm not a piano player, but I can play piano. Dan can't really play piano, but he can sit and figure something out exactly. So on these videos where we're trying to obviously play along to it so that we can make it look good, Dan will spend an hour trying to figure it out, but then he was just like, it doesn't matter because my purpose is your playing skill matched the purpose that he needed it
That's
for.
what I've always said.
Whereas though now his purpose has expanded, he's now got to build up to that to make his practical levels at the same level, and that's again how you put yourself into uncomfortable positions.
Yeah.
You can't play piano and you've got to play piano. Well, fuck, I need to
Fuck,
learn.
you
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's it, yeah.
You got to do it.
If you don't do the side quests, you know, you get that
Well, that's it, man.
XP. You get
Well,
to
that's-
level up and do the
that's it.
final
You got to
boss. You're
fight
more
the boss and
equipped.
get fucked up, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like I feel like if you don't constantly try to change and like pick up new things, you're gonna be at the exact same spot, and like eventually you're just gonna get frustrated and be
Yeah.
like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't you don't want to be like sat there thinking, oh, I could have done that.
I should have
Yeah.
done that, man.
You know, oh, I should have done that.
Rather regret
It's
something
just
you
mad.
do than than something you don't
And
do.
it's an easy
Yeah.
trap we all fall in looking back. Like that's why I don't focus on the past too much because there's so many things that you could have done that you just like didn't do.
Yeah.
And for me, it is more that I didn't do anything fucking horrible. You know what I mean? But it's just like little things. It's like, man, I should have just like learned piano. I should have just learnt this when I was growing up. I should have done this, but obviously you didn't. But it's so easy to fall into that trap, man. And that's just
I think
not
like
good.
human beings like too like programmed to routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we'll do this, and the minute like the thought of even stepping out of a routine's daunting.
It
But like
is.
sometimes when you do it, it can be so much better for
You realise that there's other routines and other situations
Mhm.
and other people that will come into your life through not being in that routine 9 to 5 almost. Do you know what I mean? But just any time of the day, really.
Yeah, it's like I was like before like the sort of podcast. I was never really a social person. Like Brad, like me and you, we were quite similar. Mainly shut-ins, weren't we?
Yeah.
And like, if you'd asked me to have a conversation for an hour, I would have near panic attacks.
Yeah,
about
meltdowns.
that. Yeah, like I'd be like, if I had to talk, like even at work, because I have to talk on the phone all the time. Picking up the phone, I used to spend 5 minutes just staring at the
Yeah.
fucking thing, just because I was scared to even talk to someone. And then now, flash forward, just stepping out of that comfort zone and being like, I'm gonna try my best to be a social person. How can I, you know, I feel like we both kind of like progress with that, didn't we? Like
Definitely, yeah.
now, like I find it hard to turn it off. Like if I see someone
Yeah.
at like a bar or
Hey,
something
don't shut
like
the
that.
fuck up now.
Yeah, I don't shut. No, I think that most people regret getting me out of my comfort zone because like this kid just don't shut the fuck up. Like,
No, definitely. I think as well, it comes down to when you want to take more responsibilities. I feel like for me as a person, like, I want instant results. Like, you know, if I want,
yeah,
if I want to
definitely.
grind, I'm like, well, I want to be here now. I
Yeah.
don't want to do the grind sometimes. Like, you know, I'm doing like video work and I'm like working 9 to 6. I'm just like, how do I balance this all?
Seriously,
And
man.
it's like, what's the point? Sometimes, like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not seeing any results now, but you have to get yourself into the mindset where you're like, eventually something will. But if
Exactly,
you don't
man.
put in the grind, then you're not going to get any results.
Well, it's like there's I saw an Instagram post, I can't remember who it was that put it, but it was about that Jesus documentary that's come out about Kanye, and it was saying how labels, other producers. No one thought he was going to do anything. No one was going to come up, and it was only his friends that actually supported him. And look at where he is now, for one example. And that was like, I think it was 20 years ago that the documentary started, and it's just saying how it doesn't matter who is knocking you down. If you believe in yourself and you know that you're going to get somewhere, the work and that process and that journey and that, you've got to trust it. You've got to go with it, because as soon as you try to fight back against it, it'll just come out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good having that like sort of support structure there as well. Like, if you have people that are constantly going, no, you can't do that. No, you can't. You're going to start fucking believing it. It's like when, like,
unless you're Kanye West, who literally just says, "No, I am going to do it."
Yeah,
that's what I love about him as well.
Kanye is plugged into like some kind of different outlet. Like
he's in the Matrix.
He can see. I reckon, like when he's like looking at someone, he's just seeing the code.
Yeah, literally.
One of my favourite bars of his is, "For me, giving up's way harder than trying." I'm just like, shit, man.
Honestly,
that makes sense to me.
I'm like a proper simp for Kanye because like I think he's a musical genius.
Yeah,
like
100%.
I was like talking to someone from work. I'm like, honestly, some of the shit he's produced, like the shit there you didn't think that he produced, but when you actually look at it, like he produced all sorts of like iconic songs.
Yeah, seriously.
Like even like I was like as well, Dr. Dre. Like the amount of iconic songs he produced as well. Like they're like. There's people like them that only come about like maybe once in a generation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, just keep an eye on them all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's like they'll keep churning out just amazing quality.
Well, it's like Kanye said. He was like, I wanted to learn how to produce, so he went back, and he literally recreated all of these songs like Dre, NWA. He remade them all and tried to get them to sound exactly the same, so that he'd know what to do to then put that to his own use. And it's like that whole level of just like, I'm going to remake something to the point where it sounds the same or near enough similar, and then I'll know how to do it. Like, that's such a practical way of learning as well. Yeah. Instead of just being like, how do I make that sound? It's just like, you've got the tracks there, just remake them, do you know what I mean? That's it.
Didn't have YouTube back then, man.
No.
Couldn't just look it up.
I always wondered how like producers did that though back then, because like I watched Straight Outta Compton like again recently, and I was just thinking, how would you know though that record that you just sampled from had that one specific bit that you really liked? You'd have to constantly listen to music to get those samples. Like,
and you look at their music, and obviously you look at hip hop. What was they sampling? What are they still sampling? It's all funk. It's all soul. It's all that neo soul R&B stuff.
Mm.
That's instantly two genres of music that you wouldn't usually put together, but
seriously,
because of the MPC, you now do.
Yeah. And it's crazy though to think like that, like even like Prodigy, like they were like sampling shit and like making like these like really like insane raves like songs.
Well, look at Outer Space.
You know what I mean? Like with all this old equipment, it's like, well, how would you know that song had that bit that you could do? But like, how would you know to change it in that way to be that good? Like, it's crazy thinking like all the old producers where they used to be like sat there and just they'd put on a vinyl and be like, I haven't got any bits I want.
No.
I ain't got any bits at home. You just had to sit there and listen to the full fucking thing until you find that one little snippet. It's like, it's
the
crazy.
Alchemist now. Like, I don't know fucking how you can do that, man.
Yeah.
Absolute nutcase. But it kind of makes me appreciate old studios as well, because I'm recording people in here and they'll fuck up and I go, sorry, I'll fix it, mate. 2 secs.
Yeah.
But back then, I would do the whole thing again, bro.
Again and again.
Back then, when you've got to literally cut like reels on a thing and glue them back together again, like, it's crazy.
The skill set of the older artists, man, just.
I think the concept of them doing that and us doing this, I think that concept is far crazier than just being able to accessibly go delete or fix. Do you know what I mean? Like, this makes more practical sense, obviously, to have to, like I say, cut into tapes.
And to get it fucking absolutely perfect.
Absolutely perfect. It was like the Smiths. What song is it now? The start of, is it Charmed?
I think so. I remember you telling me the story.
I can't remember what song it is.
When you have to do that take like 60 times or something.
It's the one where the guitar just goes. That's on an endless delay. When he had to record it so many times because if he played it ever so slightly out, it would slowly be out of time. So it might be in time for the first third of the song, but by the end of it, it's like half a beat out or a beat out. So it's things like that where you can't just fix that. If we did that, we'd just drag it a tiny bit on the screen. Do you know what I mean? It's like push it up, there you go, done. It's in time now.
Absolutely.
It's like the Doors. There's like I can't remember what fucking song it is, But like they have like a bit where it loops, and when they recorded it, they had to get like a bunch of tape recorders, do the one bit, and play it into each tape recorder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had like 60 recorders all in one line.
I think I've seen the photo of that. I think there's a photo floating about
Crazy.
somewhere.
Like just to get that one bit where like maybe it like, echoes and loops every now and again. It's there like the amount of effort and like who'd have thought that?
Yeah.
Like,
That's
right, I
there's
wanna
some
do this
very
effect.
weird things that producers can do and have done and will forever do.
It's like who would go? Alright, let's get 60 tape recorders and just like do that.
Yeah.
It's like. Why? How would you? Have you done that before? No.
I think
Well,
if someone said that to me, I'd just be
it?
like, "Shut your fucking mouth, mate." Shut the
It's
fuck
like
up.
how the fuck that's not a thing. Surely that's not a thing. And then and like it's like trust me, it's gonna work.
And it'll sound sick.
Yeah, mate, honestly, you're in good hands. Like,
So, sound production, musicians, what would you say would be the advice you'd give to yourself when you were just starting out? And what advice would you give to, I guess, musicians that want to just give it a crack?
We're going to say the same
Or
thing
sound production.
on 3,
Mate,
2,
I don't know what I'm
1.
gonna say. So.
Stop smoking weed. Nice.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Stop smoking weed. Yeah,
Or
just
smoke it less.
yeah.
Before you come into the studio, do what you want at home, but
Yeah. No, like it's one of them things
Yeah.
where growing up, you just obviously you're a kid, so you're just having a laugh and fucking around and do what you want. Like I wish I'd had that. I wish I'd had the mindset I have now, where it's just like, right, this is definitely what. Because obviously, when you're growing up as well, like we was in a generation where it was like, oh, you're never gonna make it music, you're never gonna do this. I mean, you've got to be ridiculously good to make music, and it's like nowadays we're at a point in time where you need to know how to work social medias to get seen.
Yeah.
And if you're good
Yeah.
enough, people will see it and people will fuck with it and carry on working with it.
yeah.
So I wish I'd had that kind of more grind work mentality, but I was quite happy just getting pissed and
Just
having a
getting
joint every now and then
yeah.
and playing in, like I say, I was in a like Stone Roses-esque indie Britpop psyche
Yeah.
band. Like it was quite easy to just do nothing. And I'm from Grimsby. It was a small town. There's absolutely nothing to do there other than that.
Yeah.
So coming to Leeds definitely helped me just get a bit more insight on how to be more productive. And then it was just practically using it. Because like I said, we've been in situations where we've been around people that have absolute fuckheads. Do you know what I mean? Like where you've been sat in a trap house basically for a year, and it's just like, I can't do this, man. I can't do this forever because we're gonna die. Do you know what I mean? Like
Got
we're
to
just
work hard to play hard.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
not
exactly,
go
yeah.
around.
But even little things like I've got someone to come in to record and they're fucking buzzing. I'm going to do this, and then they fuck off for a joint, and they come back in and it's just zip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just so lazy with the flow, and it's like I can't be arsed. I'm just like, mate, like you shouldn't have done that.
yeah.
Yeah, have the joint when you're done with the
Yeah.
track,
Or
or like
be-
you know when
or-
you've got it out of the way.
You know, just be self-aware, like we said before. Some people can work with it, some people can't. Like you need to be aware the effects something like that has on you. Some people go for a joint and they come back fucking 10 times better.
Yeah.
And some people don't, and you've got to be aware of that, man.
Know
You can't just
yourself.
Fucking,
Yeah.
exactly. Know
Know your
thyself,
limits.
man.
No, for sure.
I know. I can't do that.
oh, no. If I have like any bit of weed, I will not function for the next like couple of hours. Like,
Yeah.
Aftermath, I'd-
Honestly,
I don't do it,
I
man.
avoid going out in public. Everything like
Yeah.
I like
man.
can't focus. I know people that like are better when they have weed.
I know.
Like,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I'll see it, like, because, like, one of my mates, he'll be like, oh, yeah, I was in the studio, I had, like, 2 joints, you know, and after, like, the second joint, oh, mate, the music was, like, great. I was like,
Yeah.
if I had, like, 1 joint before doing vocals, that
Mate,
studio
you're going
that time ended.
Yeah.
It's, like, time to go home,
Fuck,
you've
man.
wasted a day, like,
The same, bro.
yeah, it's, honestly, it's mental to think.
Yeah, no, but not for me either. I think like I kind of mix that with chill time, you know, or even like alcohol.
Yeah,
Like,
downtime.
yeah,
Like you
once
said.
I've done with what I need to do, then sure I'll go fucking mental. But yeah, you've got to, when you're in a productive mindset, just get it out of the way.
Work
Do
and
it.
playing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at the end of the interview now. So I want to say a big thank you to getting you guys on.
Mate, thank
No,
you for
yeah,
having
thanks
us.
for having us.
And if you are an artist or a band in Leeds, don't go anywhere else, come here. Sagebxtrd
It's the
Studios.
place, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, any parting words from you guys?
No.
No, just for any other like producers or people wanting to get into music, like just keep working. Like I said, like I wish when I was 16, 17 years old, I'm 27 now. I wish I'd at that age 10 years ago had someone say to me like, keep working, keep grinding, keep doing it, and do it in a productive manner. Because if you don't, then you will just do it for fun or forever, which is fine. But if you want to do it as your career and as your job,
Yeah.
you need to have that perseverance and
Well, that's it,
patience.
man.
patience.
Absolutely.
You know, stop chasing fame.
Yeah,
It's like, you know, do it for the love.
yeah, not the clout.
That's too
Because, you know, I
right.
get people coming in chasing fame, and I can guarantee they're the people that aren't.
They won't even release.
anywhere.
They won't even release a track.
Won't release a track, man. But if you're doing it for a laugh, track, and they're all sick. You can hear it in your voice.
Yeah,
Straight
doing
away.
it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Do it because you like love it,
Yeah.
and not because like you feel like that's gonna get you some publicity.
Yeah, the fame will
Do it
come,
because
man.
it genuinely makes you happy.
The
rather
The thing is,
than,
people
like,
buy
just
into
doing
that
it.
as well. Like, if people see you having fun and being yourself, people buy into that. That's why you get artists that they won't release music, like big artists I'm talking, they won't release music
No.
consistently because people are more interested in them. The music's the byproduct in the end of it. They love the person now. So what? Even if they release something that's not as good as the last stuff, people usually still fuck with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's like the personality is more important than the music in some way.
Yeah.
Like if you're not like,
Or at least as strong. Like,
Yeah, like-
if not, at least on par with it.
it's like if people gravitate to you as someone that they can relate with, and like there's someone they actually like, oh, I feel like I know this person.
Yeah.
They are gonna fuck with your shit a lot more.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you know, I really look up to this person, or you know, I feel like he's just like me. You know, you'd gravitate to that more.
Definitely,
Like,
man. So, yeah, no last words.
Yeah. No, that's
That was the no last words.
But yeah, honestly, thank you guys. I've actually learned a lot about sound production, to be honest. I didn't know before, especially like with the auto-tune and stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Anytime, man. But
But-
we do teach as well, so
yeah, that is, yeah.
There
you're
you
really
go.
good to learn anything.
So yeah, give them a follow, give them a
us a
like, and yeah, thank you again, guys.
Cheers, thanks.
Appreciate that.
Cheers.